أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. And welcome to another one of your G2 classes, everybody. I hope you are all doing well today, inshallah. And I hope that you're enjoying your classes so far. As always, we are going to start off our class with an opening prayer. And for that, I will request our support teacher to call a student to the mic. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Could we please have G2747 on the mic, please?
Jazakumullah. G2747. Assalamu alaikum. G2747. Assalamu alaikum. All right. No worries. Could we have another student?
Yes, could we have G2740?
Jazakumullah. G2740. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you doing today?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good too, alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah for asking. So would you like to start off with ta'awudh and tasmiyah, and then inshallah I'll lead you into the recitation, okay?
Okay.
Yep, so start off with a'udhu billah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Well done, mashallah. And would you please like to repeat after me?
Yes.
Allahumma inni
Allahumma inni
as'aluka
as'aluka
ilman nafi'a
ilman nafi'a.
Good. Well done, mashallah. That was very, very nicely recited. And could you also read out the English translation for us, please?
Okay. Oh Allah, I ask you for beneficial knowledge.
Well done. And that's from Ibn Majah, hadith number 925. Jazakumullah for coming to the mic, student G2740. That was very nicely recited. Jazakumullah.
Thank you.
Okay, so just before we start our class, let's remind ourselves of the class etiquettes. Make sure you have joined the class today having done your ablution or your wudu. Make sure that you're wearing clean clothes and that your head is also covered. And very importantly, please make sure you're sitting in a quiet place so that when we call you to the mic, there's no background noise to distract you from the recitation. And most importantly, if you can all sign in with the correct ID, that would be absolutely amazing. A lot of the times we really want to call everyone to the mic. However, there's some students who join with the incorrect ID and we are unable to call you to the mic. So make sure you've signed in with the correct ID and use this time right now to go to the participant list, find yourself and see if you need to rename yourself or not, okay? Because there is a rename facility just in case you happen to sign in with the incorrect ID. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at our schedule for today. So today, obviously the 19th is a Thursday class. So obviously we've already had our opening prayer. And today in particular, the rule in focus will be wasl, especially combining tashdid. So this is something that you've already been introduced to in the start of this week. I believe you went through combining sakin letters, but today we're going to be focusing on combining tashdid letters, so mushaddad letters, okay? And then we will also call some students to the mic to practice some of the practice text with us. And then towards the end, we will revise mispronounced letters as well, okay? And these are the two that we're going to go over in particular, all right? So let's take a look. So when you're reading the Holy Quran, you would have come through many instances where you will see a sakin letter or a shadda, a mushaddad letter. A sakin letter is a letter that carries a sukoon, and a mushaddad letter is a letter that carries a shadda. And these two signs, a sukoon and tashdid, are there to tell us or to allow us to join letters together. So it's very important to note that whenever you see a sukoon or tashdid, you need to remember that you're joining letters together. But most importantly, with the rule of wasl, wasl basically means to combine. We are going to be focusing strictly on tashdid today, okay? And whenever we see a mushaddad or sakin letter in general, we know we need to join it to the most recent mutaharrik letter. So what is mutaharrik letter? A mutaharrik letter is a letter that carries a stroke. It could be a fatha, could be a kasra, could be a dhamma, it could be some form of tanween. So mutaharrik letter is basically just a letter that carries a stroke. And what are we doing when we see a mushaddad letter? We will join it to the most recent letter that carries a stroke. In other words, it's the letter that is mutaharrik, okay? So sometimes the examples that we see reading the Holy Quran, it's very easy. For example, say you were reading the Holy Quran, you will come across this letter Jim, okay, which is highlighted in red for you. And it's carrying a shadda. This little W-like looking sign is called a shadda. And you instantly know, because of the tashdid, that you're going to join that to a letter. And we already know we're going to join it to the most recent mutaharrik letter. So if we look at the letter before, straight before it, there is a sin which carries a dhamma. And this is a lovely example because you don't have to worry about this letter not carrying any strokes. This one, the letter right before it, has got a dhamma on top. So you know you need to join the sin to the jim because the sin is a mutaharrik letter. It does carry a stroke. So what you will end up doing is you're going to recite this as sujjirat, sujjirat, okay? So this is what we do normally when it comes to mushaddad letters. But you will also come across examples where there are blank letters in between here. For example, these letters that do not carry a stroke. They do look difficult, but there are 5 easy steps to help you overcome these obstacles when it comes to reciting the Holy Quran and make it a lot easier for you to join letters together. Okay, it's very easy, and today we'll be talking about that. All right. So, step number 1, you have to identify the mushaddad letter. So find out which letter is the letter that is carrying the shadda. In other words, which is the letter that is telling us to join letters together? And this is the letter here. So we've pointed that out. After you point out the mushaddad letter, you have to identify the most recent mutaharrik letter. Okay? And in order for us to do this, we need to work backwards. And you need to ask yourself this very, very important question, which is this a mutaharrik letter? So for example, we've identified the sod mushaddad, we've identified the letter carrying the shadda. Now we need to work backwards. So if we look at the letter before, this letter, is this a mutaharrik letter? And the answer is no, it's not. Why? Because it doesn't carry anything. It doesn't carry a stroke, it's a blank letter, so therefore it's not a mutaharrik letter. And in an event where the answer is no, you will just continue working backwards. So we've gone over this letter, now we will move to the letter before that. Is that a mutaharrik letter? And the answer is still no, it's a blank letter, it doesn't carry anything. So we move to the letter before that, keep working backwards. And then you ask yourself, is this a mutaharrik letter? And again, it's a blank alif, it doesn't carry anything. So it's not a mutaharrik letter, it doesn't carry any strokes. Then the letter before that, which is a blank vowel, is this a mutaharrik letter? No, because it doesn't carry anything. And then if we look at the letter before that, we have a lam with a dhamma. And then you ask yourself again, is this a mutaharrik letter? All right. And the answer is yes, it is. Okay. So once you've identified the most recent mutaharrik letter, you can then move on to step number 3, which is simply joining the 2 letters together. Okay, so we know lam is carrying a dhamma, so it is a mutaharrik letter, and then we will apply step number 3, which is simply joining the letters together. All right. But when you're doing this step, remember, whenever you come across a letter that carries a shadda, this little sign here, okay? Whenever you see a letter that carries this, often that letter, that mushaddad letter, will also have another stroke apart from the tashdid. It will either be a fatha, dhamma, kasra, it will be like a tanween, like a fathatain, dhammatain, kasratain, or it can also be these vertical fathas, these long stretch vowels, vertical fatha, vertical kasra, or inverted dhamma. It can be any. But at this point in particular, you're not thinking about what stroke the mushaddad letter is carrying. You're just simply thinking about joining the letters together. So you're going to say amilus, and that's the step number 3, joining lam and sad together. And step number 4, finally here you can think about what stroke is on top of the sad mushaddad, sad mushaddad. And in this case, we have got a vertical fatha. So once you've identified the stroke, you will make the sound, the right sound accordingly, okay? And remember, whenever there's a vertical fatha on top of a letter, you give it a 2-second or 2-count timing, all right? So we're gonna now progress on to saying amilu so. And note, when I'm joining the lam and the sad together, I'm putting pressure on the sad. Why? Because sad has got a shadda. Remember, whenever you come across a mushaddad letter, put pressure on it, because that's the difference between mushaddad letters and sakin letters, okay? So then you just put it all together and make sure to press on the mushaddad letter, which is what I just mentioned right now. And once you have done this, you will notice that all of these letters in between, this alif, and this vowel, we totally ignored these letters, all right? So when joining the lam and the sad together, you will ignore all the blank letters in between. So to finish off then, this is how we are going to recite this. We're going to say it as عَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ عَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and making sure we're putting pressure on the sad and stretching the sound out for 2 seconds, because there is a vertical fatha on top. And we're also going to make sure we ignore all of these letters together. So this is the rule of wasl. Wasl means to combine, okay? This was the rule that we're thinking of when we're talking about wasl or combining. So a quick recap. A mushaddad letter is a letter that carries a shadda. It's a little W sign that we saw, okay? And a mutaharrik letter is a letter that carries a stroke. So in our situation before, the lam with the dhamma was the letter carrying the stroke, so it was a mutaharrik letter. And remember, the mushaddad letter will join to the most recent mutaharrik letter. And we work backwards, remember, okay? So when you see a mushaddad letter, you work back until you find a vowel letter, a mutaharrik letter. And when you do, you join those 2 letters and make sure that you ignore any blank letters in between, like we did in the previous example. So if you see a mushaddad letter, you join it to the most recent mutaharrik letter and you ignore any of the letters in between. So here, lam was the mutaharrik letter, and all of these letters in between, we ignored it. And the same rule can be applied to sakin letters as well. All right, so in situations when there is not a mushaddad letter present, but instead there is a sakin letter present, so a letter carrying a sukoon, you will join it to the most recent mutaharrik letter as well. You will still work backwards. The same exact rule applies. Okay, the only difference is that a sakin letter doesn't carry an extra stroke like a mushaddad letter does. A mushaddad letter will also have a fatha, it could have a kasra, it could have anything, but a sakin letter will simply just have that sukoon on top. And that's the only difference between combining when it comes to sakin letters and when it comes to mushaddad letters. And here we can see this is an example with the rule sakin letter in place. So there's a lam sakin, and we work backwards. This is a blank letter, it's not a mutaharrik letter. Then we will go even further back. Is this a mutaharrik letter? No. You go even back. Is this vowel a mutaharrik letter? No, because it's blank. And then you look at the ghain. in this case, it is the mutaharrik letter because it carries a dhamma, it carries a stroke. So we join the ghain and the lam together. And we did exactly the same thing as we did with the mushaddad letter. We ignored any of the blank letters in between. And that's exactly the same case with our mushaddad letters as well. So the key is to remember, whenever you see a sakin or a mushaddad letter, you join it to the most recent mutaharrik letter, ignoring any letters in between. Okay, so hopefully that was a bit clear to understand. Obviously, when I call you to the mic, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask me and I'll try my best to answer it to, the best of my ability, okay? Now, going on to the next part of our class, we are going to be focusing on chapter number 26. And in particular, we are going to start reciting from verse number 24. And hopefully we're going to try and reach up to verse number 45. But if not, that's absolutely fine. We're just going to work our way through this, this portion of the Holy Quran. Okay? So, support teacher, may I please have a student to the mic?
Yes, could we have G2674 on the mic, please?
Jazakallah. Student G2674, Assalamu alaikum. Student G2674, Assalamu alaikum. Okay, no worries. Could we move on to another student, please?
Yes, could we have G2676?
Jazakallah. Student G2676, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you doing today?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too, alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah for asking. So, did you understand the rule that was taught today?
Yes.
Yes. Could you tell me what wasl means?
It means when you combine a mutaharrik letter to either sukoon or a mushahada letter.
Good, well done. That was very, very nicely explained. Actually, better than what I thought, but it's very good explanation. So, wasl means to combine. It's an Arabic word. And whenever we're thinking about this rule, we're thinking about joining a mushaddad or sakin letter to the most recent mutaharrik letter. And we will normally work backwards. So, hopefully today, you can try and pin or point out any place where you see this rule being applied, okay? And
Yes.
I can already see a couple of examples, but if you could start reciting from this highlighted part, and I'm going to ask you to recite all the way up to here for me, verse number 25. Is that okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Do you want to start off with Ta'awud and Tasmiyah? And whenever you're ready, you may start.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال فرعون وما رب العالمين قال رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما إن كنتم موقنين.
Well done, mashallah. That was a very, very beautiful recitation, mashallah. What I really liked about your recitation today is that you took your time to recite these two verses. You took care when it came to different letters and the right pronunciation for it as well. And most importantly, you were able to apply the rule of wasl to your recitation, which is amazing. So well done, mashallah. Now let's take a look at a couple of things I highlighted for you, okay? First of all, we know that every letter in the Arabic alphabet has got a unique sound, right? Like every letter has a different sound and we can't really mix those sounds together because the letters look different and they have a different sound, okay? So one of the letters I highlighted here was the letter Qaf. Now, in the Arabic alphabet, some letters have got a thin sound, whereas some letters have got a thick sound. And these thick, heavy sounding letters, we normally give them a round mouth as well. And Qaf is one of them. So when you're saying this, when you're reciting this verse, you're going to say قال. Can you try saying that for me, please?
قال
Well done, good. But try to give a round mouth as you're saying it. قال.
قال
Good, much better, mashallah. Improvement already, all right? So very, very good. This is one of those thick, heavy sounding letters, and the same rule will apply here as well. قال here as well. And this letter, now this is a letter dod. I know a lot of people don't know this. They tend to say, give it a sound of za, but remember, this has like a thick, heavy dal sound. Like, you know the letter dal, but like a thicker version of that. So rather than saying wal arzi, try to say wal ardi. Can you try saying that for me?
والأرض.
Good. Well done, mashallah. Very nicely recited. That was another one of the pronunciation things I wanted to point out. Now, just towards the end here, this letter mim mushaddad, right, is joining to this letter vaw sakin. Now, in this situation, there's a rule of normal elongation that is applied. So there's 3 letters, alif, vaw, and ya, and these are known as our haruful mad letters, so letters of elongation. But we won't go into too much detail because inshallah in the future we will be covering that. But just remember that this is one of our letters of elongation. So when you're joining the letter previously to it, if the letter carries a dhamma, you will elongate the sound for 2 seconds. So you're going to say kuntum mu. Can you try saying that for me?
كنتم موقنين.
Good, well done, mashallah, very nicely recited. So here right now we are elongating or stretching the sound out for 2 seconds, and that's because this is a rule of vaw mad, but don't worry, inshallah, we will be covering that in the future. And just to end things off here, do you want to point out a place anywhere, any part of this verse that you recited where the rule of wasl is applied, but in particular the one for mushaddad letters?
There was one at the last ayat, in kuntum muqinin.
Good, well done. So this is, and I'm glad you pointed this out, because when we were learning about mushaddad letters, we said, or wasl in general, we said you ignore all the blank letters in between, right? Now, mim isn't a blank letter, but is it necessarily mutaharrik letter? No.
Oh.
Okay, well done. So the question that we said, the very important question is, you work backwards and you ask yourself, is this a mutaharrik letter? So this is a mim sakin. It definitely carries something on top, but it's not a stroke. It's not like a fatha, dhamma, kasra, or anything like that. So whenever you have a tashdid and a jazm put together, the tashdid will always take priority. Okay, so this is the rule that will be applied here. So well done, you very beautifully pointed that out. And even up here, right, there's a sin mushaddad, and the letters before it are not mutaharrik letters, are they? Because they're blank, right?
Yeah.
So we will ignore them and join it to this ba. All right. And what's one thing that we should do when we join letters to a mushaddad letter?
You have to put pressure on the mushahad letter.
Good. Well done, mashallah. I'm very, very impressed with how much you've understood. And I can see you're very, very good at determining or familiarizing yourself with these different rules and knowing the right terminology. So well done, mashallah. G2 6, 7, was it 4?
6 and 6.
6, 7, 6. Okay, jazakallah. And that was very, very nicely recited. Keep practicing and inshallah you'll get there very soon. Jazakumullah for coming to the mic.
Lafis.
Allah Hafiz, take care. Okay, so we are now going to move to our next participant. So co-host, may I please have another student to the mic?
Yes, G2658.
Jazakumullah. Student G26, was it 6758?
G2658.
658, Jazakumullah, I'm writing this down. Wa alaikum salam, how are you doing today?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
I'm good too, alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah for asking. So have you been understanding the rules so far?
Yes.
Good. Do you know what wasl means?
also means combining a sucking and I forgot the word.
Yeah, mushaddad, yeah?
Yeah.
Good, well done. That was very, very nicely explained, just like our previous student did as well. So well done, mashallah. Good explanation. So wasl means to combine, and in particular, we're talking about sakin and mushaddad letters. All right, amazing. So do you want to start off with Darwood and Tasmiya? And I will ask you to recite up to this verse here for me, okay?
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال لمن حوله ألا تستمعون قال ربكم ورب آبائكم الأولين.
And I changed my mind. Could you also read up to here for me? So if you could just recite the last verse as well, please.
Okay. قال إن رسولكم الذي أرسل إليكم لمجنون.
Good, well done, mashallah, student G2658. That was very, very nicely recited, mashallah. Again, you took a lot of care when reciting this, and I can clearly see you're able to apply the rules that we've learned so far very, very nicely and appropriately as well. So well done, mashallah. That was a great recitation. There's just a couple of things I would like to point out here today. So first of all, let's look at these two letters. Okay, can you tell me what letter this is?
It's a ha letter.
It's a ha, yeah. And what letter is this?
A ha.
Ha. Okay. Now here's the thing, right? A lot of the times when people are reciting this verse or the Quran in general, they will mix up the sound of the ha. So they will say hawlahu. But remember, they're two different letters. Yeah, so they must have two different sounds. And the special thing about these two letters is that they're both letters of the throat, but the sound where it comes out from, the part of the throat where it comes out from, is different for both of these letters. Okay, so if we take a look at this letter ha, the sound will come from the middle of the throat. So can you try saying ha for me?
Ha.
Good, well done. That was perfect. That was even better than mine. Well done. And then you've got a ha, and the sound comes from the bottom of your throat, but more towards the chest. So can you say ha for me?
Ha.
Okay, nearly there. It's like a simple H sound. Ha.
Ha.
Good, well done. So can you hear the difference when I say ha and ha?
Yeah.
Good, well done. So this is the kind of rule that we are applying, just making sure we're getting the sounds right. And over here, there's the letter dhal. Now, a lot of the times people will mix the sound up with the letter za, okay? And I am trying to see if I can find a za, but if not, it's fine. What I will do is I will write out this letter here. So this is a za. It's like a ra with a dot on top, okay?
Yeah.
But this is like a dal with a dot on top. They're two different letters, so therefore they must have two different sounds, okay? So this is a z, a simple Z sounding letter. Can you say z for me?
Za.
Good, well done. And this is a dhal, and this is one of our letters of the day for today as well. We're going to be talking about this as well, but dhal. So the sound comes, it's like a vibration that you're making with your tongue and your teeth. So when you say dhal, you're getting the tip of your tongue and you're touching the back part of your top teeth. Hopefully that makes sense, but you're giving like a slight vibration. So you're going to say the. Can you try saying that for me?
The.
Good, well done, mashallah. So the and the. So that's the difference I wanted to point out here today. And finally, could you please point out a part in the recitation here today where you could apply the rule of vessel, but with mushaddad letters?
The one next to the bar that has 4 to 6 seconds, like next to the alif.
Are you talking about this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so not a bad shout. I can see there is a mushaddad letter, but when it comes to vessel, we're talking about ignoring letters in between as well. So in particular for the rule today, we learned that there's going to be some letters we're going to have to ignore in between because they're not mutaharrik letter. Whereas this ba mushaddad, the letter right before it is a mutaharrik letter. So that rule wouldn't necessarily apply, but you did point that out nicely. Do you want me to show you a place where it is?
Yeah.
So just around here, can you see there is a lam mushaddad?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a blank alif. Is this a mutaharrik letter?
Yeah. No.
No, good, well done. It's not a mutaharrik letter because it's blank. Well done. And then we move further back and we see there is a meme with a dhamma. Is this a mutaharrik letter?
Yes.
Yes, well done. So what letter are we going to join the lam to?
The meme.
Good, well done. That was very, very nicely pointed out. So mashallah, that was a great, great recitation, student G2658. Well done. I'm very, very happy with your overall recitation and your knowledge of the rules. Keep revising and keep practicing because, you know, practice makes perfect, right? So keep practicing and inshallah you'll get there very soon. But jazakumullah for coming to the mic today. Take care of yourself.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Okay, so co-host, maybe please have another student to the mic.
Yeah, could we have G2719 on the mic, please?
Jazakumullah. Student G2719, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too, alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah for asking. So, is the rule making sense to you so far?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell me if there is a mushaddad letter, what letter do we join it to?
To the
To the most recent mutaharrik letter. Yes?
yeah.
You know what the word mutaharrik means?
Yeah.
Okay, what does it mean?
It means it have a stroke.
Good. Well done, mashallah. So when you see mushaddad or a sakin letter, you will join it to the most recent mutaharrik letter, so the letter that carries a stroke. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Amazing. Now, do you want to start off with the Awud and Tasmiya, and you can start reciting from here? For now, you can recite up to this verse, but if, you know, I feel like I may ask you to recite a bit longer. Would that be okay?
Okay.
All right. So if you go whenever you're ready.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال رب
مشرقي
مشرقي والمغربي وما بينهما إن كنتم تعقلون قال لئن نتخذت إلى
إلها
إلها غير لا أجعلن كمن المسجونين.
Good, well done, mashallah. That was very, very nicely recited, student G2719. So beautiful recitation. I let you recite that all yourself because I wanted you to have as much practice as possible in terms of trying to recite fluently when it comes to the Holy Quran. So you've done a very, very good job, mashallah. Let's just take a look at a couple of things together now, okay?
Okay.
First of all, when you see this qaf, when I'm saying qaf, I'm giving a round mouth and like a thick sound as well. So can you try saying qaf for me? Student G279, 719, are you still with me? Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Well,
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, amazing. Do you want to give a round mouth when you're saying this qaf? Try saying it for me.
Qaf.
Amazing, well done, mashallah. So this is what we're doing. We can't mix the sound with the letter kaf. This kaf, it's different. We're giving a smiley face here, but here we're giving a round mouth, okay? So different letters with different sounds, okay?
Okay.
Next, what I wanted to point out was this letter is a sin, so try not to give it a fast sound. Try saying masjuneen.
Masjunين.
Masjuneen.
Masjunين.
Good, well done, mashallah. That was very, very nicely recited. Okay. I'm trying to find. The rule that we learned today was when a letter carries a shadda and you join it to the most recent mutaharrik letter. Is there a part in this verse where you can point that out for me? I'll give you a hint. It's on this line.
Which line?
This one here. So this line.
Nita.
Good, well done. It's just in the beginning here, yeah? So there is a ta mushaddad, you join it to the most recent what letter? You join it to the most recent mutaharrik letter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And alif is not mutaharrik, so you look at the letter before that. Noon is because it carries the stroke of kasra. So we will join the noon and the ta together, bearing in mind we think about the stroke on top of the mushaddad letter as well. Okay? So well done, mashallah. That was very, very nicely recited, student G2719. Keep practicing and inshallah you'll get there very soon, okay?
Okay.
Jazakumullah for coming to the mic. Take care. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Okay. Co-host, may I please have another student to the mic?
G2608.
Perfect. Jazakumullah. G2608. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too, alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah for asking. So have you been doing your homework so far, which is to practice these rules and apply them to the Holy Quran?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You didn't sound too sure there, but good. It's good to hear you're getting on well. And did you understand the rule today?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Just to kick things off, I'll ask the same question to you as well. What letter would you join a mushaddad letter to? It's the most recent.
Kaf.
Okay, so mushaddad letter can be on any letter, all right, and not always just the kaf, but remember it can it's going to join to the most recent mutaharrik letter, yes? Do you know what a mutaharrik letter is?
No.
So that's all right. A mutaharrik letter is a letter that carries a stroke. So in other words, fatha, dhamma, kasra, those kind of strokes, yeah? And any blank letter, so a letter that doesn't carry a stroke, will not be a mutaharrik letter. And we'll be looking at some of those examples today. So do you want to start off with Awud and Tasmiya? And I will ask you to start reciting from here for me, please. And you can recite up to here, but I may extend it for you later. All right?
Yeah.
So you can start off with Awud and Tasmiya, please.
Yeah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qala awalau jihtuka bishay'in mu'binin. Qala fahti bihi in kuntami nasadikin.
Good, well done, mashallah. Again, a very nice recitation. You tried your best to recite those words to the best of your ability. And mashallah, you did a very, very good job at it as well. So well done, mashallah. Now, let's just take a look at some things together here. First of all, let's remind ourselves that this letter is a thick, heavy sounding letter. So we give a round mouth, okay? So can you try saying qala?
Qala.
Good, well done, mashallah. That was very nicely recited. Now, there's one thing I've been saying in class today quite a lot, which I said was that every letter has got a unique sound, right? But there's two letters in the Arabic alphabet, Hamza and Alif, which don't. They have exactly the same sound. Apart from that, every letter will have a different sound, okay? So this Alif, I've realized that you sort of mix it up with a letter ha. So rather than saying jihtu, can you try saying jitu?
Jitu.
Good, well done. That was much better actually. Well done. So this is an alif, a hamza, and it has the same sound as the alif here. So if you repeat after me, fa'ti.
Fa'ti.
Good. And what letter is this?
Alif.
Good, alif. And alif, hamza have the same sound, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, how are we going to say this letter?
Which letter?
This letter.
Qala.
Good, well done. Well done. We're giving a round mouth here. And last but not least, this letter meme, what's it carrying on top? So this, do you know what the sign is called?
I know, but I forgot.
Okay, no worries. It's called a tashdid. What is it called?
Shadid.
A tashdid, yes. And tashdid tells us to join letters together, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to join it to the most recent mutaharrik letter. Do you remember what the word mutaharrik means?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, do you want to tell me what you remember? So a mutaharrik letter is a letter that carries a stroke, yeah?
Stroke.
Good, well done. So if we look at the most recent letter, so the letter right before it, it's a hamza with a tanveen. Is this a mutaharrik letter? Yes, it is. Yeah, because tanveen is a stroke, right? A fatha, dhamma, kasra, vertical fatha, vertical kasra, any kind of tanveen, these are all strokes. So if they come on top or underneath a letter, that letter will be mutaharrik. Okay?
Okay.
Tanveen is basically this little double stroke of kasra here. It's called a kasratain in particular. So if you want to repeat after me, Immubin.
Immudin.
So this is a ba. Immubin.
Immubin.
Good. Well done, mashallah. So that was very, very nicely recited. My advice to you would be just try to go over round mouth letters. For example, qaf, sad, ta. These are thick, heavy sounding letters. And also I'd recommend that you try and familiarize yourself with the different terminology. So what does tashdid mean? What's mutaharrik? Okay?
Okay.
All right, good. Well done. Well, jazakumullah for coming to the mic, student G2608. Keep practicing, all right? Jazakumullah. Take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz. Okay, so I think that's just about the time we've got for the practice text. So just guys, remember, whenever we are learning a rule, it's very important to learn it and then apply it as well. Very, very important, because then you won't really understand how to apply it when you're reading the Holy Quran. So keep practicing, and that's the best way to sharpen your fluency when it comes to reciting the Holy Quran. Okay. Can I also remind you all, in the chat box, our co-host has posted the Google form for today. So if you could press on that link later on, and you can basically just write down your ID and confirm your attendance, okay? If you don't do this, then I guess you're marked absent. So try to fill in that form definitely to say that you attended today's class, all right? So for the next part, I'm just going to quickly revise over the 2 mispronounced letters. So today we focused on that a lot. I tried to remind you guys that every letter has a different sound, and the only 2 letters which have the same sound in the Arabic alphabet are Alif and Hamza, okay? And the 2 letters we are looking at for today is going to be Dhal and Sod. So this is the letter Dhal, all right? And it's a letter of the tongue, because you're using your tongue to form the sound dhal. And the letters of the tongue, in other words, are known as al-lisan. So al-lisan refers to tongue, okay? And often people replace that sound with a za, which is what I went through today as well. I said that this is a ra with a dot, and this is like a dal with a dot. They're different letters, so they have different sounds. This here, you're giving a za, like a simple z sound. And over here, you're giving a dhal. You're putting in more vibration this time. So how is it actually pronounced? You get the tip of the tongue. The tip of the tongue slightly comes out of the mouth, like the letter th, okay? But there is more vibration. The tongue is pressed against the edge of the upper teeth, and slight air should escape your mouth when you're saying it. So when you're saying th, and when you're saying the difference is that with the, you're touching the edge of the top teeth, and there's more vibration. And slight air should escape as well when you are saying this letter. And so this was the letter dhal, all right? Next, we've got the letter sod. Now, again, this is a letter of tongue, al-lisan, okay? Because, you know, you're using your tongue to form those that sound. And a lot of the time people confuse it with the letter sin. Okay, so you have sod and you have sin. So sin is like a simple S sound, right? And here, this is a sod. It's like a thick, heavy version of the letter S. So, and this is one of a round mouth letters as well. So whenever you see this letter, try and give a round mouth if it carries a fatha on top. So sin and sod. And how is this letter sod pronounced? This letter has the same articulation point as the letter sin. So you're still pressing your teeth together, but the top of the tongue is raised to the roof of the mouth to make it a heavy and thick sounding letter sod. So you can try and touch your tongue, raise it to the roof of the mouth, and make sure you give the thick and heavy sound to it, okay? Sod. So these were the 2 letters. We had dhal and we had sod. Make sure you're able to differentiate between these letters. And the best way to do that is, say you're reading the Holy Quran, you can open up the text, especially the text that we've been going through today, and you can highlight a sin and a sod, or you can highlight a za and a dhal, and sort of familiarize yourself with the difference between the 2 letters, okay? So to conclude our class today, there is a bit of homework that we set every single day, to be honest, of the week, Monday to Friday. So today you are aware the rule that we learned was combining. And we said that if you see a mushaddad letter, you will join it to the most recent mutaharrik letter. And any of the blank letters in between, or the non-mutaharrik letters, we will ignore them, okay? And today we tried to practice these following verses of chapter number 26, 24 to 45. We couldn't progress on to 45 at all, actually. but that's absolutely fine. If you could practice that at home, try and get up to verse 45, that would be absolutely amazing. But make sure you are applying your rules as well. You're not just trying to get to verse 45, you're trying to get to verse 45, but also apply the rules. The letters that we went through were Dal and Sod. We learned that they are both al-lisan, so letters of the throat, okay? And yeah, basically, I've already said this part, practice today's verses. It's very important you practice and apply the rules that we have revised so far in your daily tilawat, okay? Pay close attention to them. So that's your homework. Just practice chapter 26, verse 24 to 45. As always, we are going to conclude our class today with a closing prayer. And for that, if I could request our co-host to call a student to the mic.
G2704.
Jazakumullah. Student G2704, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. No worries. Could we please have another student to the mic?
Yep, could we have G2691?
Perfect. Jazakumullah. Student G2691, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you doing today?
Good, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, that's great to know. Would you like to start off with the awud and tasmiyah, and then inshallah I'll lead you into the recitation, okay?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Well done, mashallah. Very, very nicely recited. And if you could please repeat after me. Allahumma arhamni
Allahumma arhamni
bil-Qur'an al-azim
Bil-Qur'an al-Azim
waj'alhu li
waj'alhu li
imaman wa
imaman wa
nuran wa
nuran wa
hudan wa rahmah.
hudan wa rahmah.
Mashallah, mashallah. Very, very nicely recited. And could you also please read out the English translation for us?
O Allah, have mercy on me, say the Quran the Great, and make it for me the leader, the light, and the guidance, and the mercy.
Okay, well done, mashallah. Very, very nicely read. Jazakumullah for coming to the mic, student G2691. Take care. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Okay, so that was it for today, everybody. Jazakumullah to everyone who attended. I hope this class was beneficial for all of you guys today. Make sure you do the homework. Make sure you practice, because as I mentioned earlier on, practice makes perfect. So keep practicing, keep working hard, and without a doubt, you will get very, very fluent in reciting the Holy Quran. But it's important you practice. Okay, so that was it for today's class, everybody, and inshallah we will see you in tomorrow's class. Until then, take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.